Gifts for the ancestors. Have you honored what you have changed in your life? If it's your behavior pattern, how many habits, how many programs have you changed which has not been in your ancestral line, which is different than your parents? We are not a victim of our DNA, and we can change everything. For me, the real change happens when I can sit in that change, honor the change, and honor that I am behaving different than my parents, different than my ancestors, different than the way I was behaving before. So what I want to do in this webinar is to really bring up consciously where you've developed and sit in it for a few moments and bathe in it cellularly, because we want to make the cellular shift as well. So for me, it's very important to honor these changes and not deflect from them. It's almost like, you're given a gift and you don't open the gift. Well, actually, you've brought many gifts in, maybe that you haven't really integrated fully into your system. So I want to use this space, this container, this vessel, for honoring what you've done and opening the gifts that you have brought in to this life system, the gifts that you've brought in, which your ancestors couldn't bring in. So I want to open these gifts, treasure these gifts, honor the gifts, and say, yes, I have made a change which is different than the way I was, which is different the way my dad, my mom was, which is different than my ancestors. And then when I've integrated that change into my system cellularly, I invite you to turn around and share those gifts with your parents, with your ancestors, also with the people around you, with your children. This way, there's a cellular shift in your system and there's a DNA shift in your system, because now you have fully integrated and consciously brought through all the levels of your being the change. By bringing gratitude to yourself and sharing, the sharing part is really important. It brings transformation and change into the system. So I want to support you to ground your life's work, to ground where you've developed beyond your parents, in complete honor to your parents. We are the children of our parents, and we're here to step into new boundaries, to step beyond the limits of our ancestors. We are here to make these changes. So what I want to do in this webinar is open these gifts, honor these gifts, and share the gifts back to the ancestors. This way, our cells will change, our DNA will change, our children will change, the whole system, the field around us will change, the ancestors will change, they will send more gifts forward. So I want to do this into our subconsciousness. I'm going to support you to bring it through the subconsciousness that changes. I'm going to support you to bring it into your DNA, into your organs, into your cells, into your bones. This is what this webinar is about. Honoring all the hard work you did in this lifetime, which is different than your parents, different than your ancestors, and to fully embody that change cellularly within you and around you. I'm really looking forward to opening this space with you. It really brought significant results into my system when I sat in those changes and honor it. It was such an honor, such a blessing. And you can feel it cellularly when you stand there and simply offer to your ancestors the gifts that you brought in and share them with them. It's it's incredible, the feeling of honor in the ancestral lines and honor to you when you stand in embodiment of what you brought through, in complete acknowledgement of what you brought through, and then share it with the ancestors. So if this resonates with you and you want to embody your changes, which are different than your ancestors, cellularly, and really consciously engage to go into another level, I invite you to be part of this webinar. It will bring many different results on many levels in your life. Thank you for your support and sending love and gratitude. And in the meantime, if you are entering the webinar space, I would invite you to write down and spend a few days really thinking about and sitting in what changes you have made from your childhood, which are different than your mom, different than your dad, different than your dad's relationship with your mom, different relationship with your mom or your dad. So all these behavior patterns which you've changed, I'd like you to really make a list of those gifts, because when you bring it up consciously and then when we sit in it, you will feel that change dramatically in your system. It's about sitting in the results, honoring the results, and not deflecting from them, and appreciating yourself. So I invite you to do that homework of making a list of your gifts before the webinar, so we can really celebrate all that you've done, all the hard work you've done, which is very unique and very different than the ancestors. So we can really move forward and start manifesting more true to our souls. Thank you, and enjoy finding those gifts. It's not till you sit down and really see and face. I often like to go home and then to watch the systems, because when I go home, I can see, whoa, I have changed a lot. I'm behaving different than I was before. So I invite you to make a list of the changes that you consciously can ground, and we can bring those into the webinar space and make that shift cellularly within the bone marrow, within the DNA, within your subconsciousness, within the blood. Thank you, and enjoy.